louder. Hello. Okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. Can you say hello?
Hello.
This is my grandbaby. This is Zanaya. Wave hi, Zanaya.
I can't see them.
You can't see them, but they can see you.
Where?
Huh? They can see the screen right there. This is what everybody sees on their side. And
Can they talk to me?
Yeah, well, they're going to chat. They're going to type some comments in here in the chat. Hold on, let me see if anybody. Hello. This is Zanaya. She wants to say hello to everybody. She said she wants to meet my coworkers. Hello. So I guess you guys are my coworkers today. Hey, honey. Nope. She wants to touch everything. Okay. What is that? Good morning. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Oh, no. We're not going to mess with that. Okay. Did you get some velvet powder up your nose? So yeah, everybody, this is Zanaya. She's hanging out with me this morning. We're going to pass her off to one of the big girls so that they can play with her while we're crafting. Okay. All right, Zanaya, say goodbye. Say goodbye.
How do you see them?
Yeah, well, they can see you, but you can't see them. But see all the comments? Do you see what they're saying? Cindy says, what a cutie. Dana says, good morning. Sue says, hi, little one. Dana says, good morning, beautiful girls. And Jill says, good afternoon, ladies. Can you say hi, Dana, Jill, Sue, and Cindy?
Hi, Dana, Sue, Danny.
All right. Can you say goodbye?
Goodbye.
All right. Bye. Whoop. All right. She wants to touch everything. Okay, Lizzie. Bye, sweetie. Feel good? Oh, okay. Bye. Give me a hug. It's a brush. Give me a hug. All right, here. Lizzie. Can you go find Lizzie? Go find Lizzie. All right, thank you. All right, you guys. So yeah, she wanted to craft with me this morning, but I was afraid she was going to eat some velvet powder, which would not be good. Okay, good morning, you guys. We're going to do an ornament today. This is the one that I had started for the Pentart Live on Wednesday, which did not take place. So I figured we would push that along, and if my Pentart Live gets rescheduled, I will do something else. So I already had this one prepared, and we are going to work on it. Okay, let me shut my door here. Good morning. All right, so it's a little too warm. I did bring my glasses. Hi, Sharon. Hello, everybody. Good morning. So if you don't know me, I'm Teresa with Teresa Rene Art. Hello, Sandy from Michigan. I am streaming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. We do this every Saturday morning when we can. Some days we can't, but usually I'll let you know if I can't come on. We are doing basically what we do. This is an extension of the Pentart 101 series. And so we learned everything there is to know about Pentart products in our 30-something week series that we concluded a few weeks ago. And now we're doing a project workshop, which is basically just taking it to the next level and showing you how to incorporate all these products into projects. So that's what we're doing. This is called Project Workshop. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera down because I've got my granddaughter here. I'm going to try to keep this to an hour so I can spend a little bit of time with her today. Let's see. Okay. So can everybody see my screen and hear me okay? I think it looks pretty good. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to, let me see if I can bring this down a little bit more. I took this bauble. This is one of those kind of flattish baubles. It's an 11 centimeter flat bauble. This is the same one that I used, I think last week or week before. And basically what we're doing is I've already applied the molds on here. just in the interest of time, and I've already primed it. So I'll show you what I did. I used, this is a little mold that I have. It's like beaded, is like, I guess, pearls, I guess. And so I used this one here, the second row, and I made a circle around. And then I used this one, the third one, and I made a trim along the side. And then I took this little mold as bow. You could use any mold that has a bow on it. And then I used this little bow, and I just went around my 4 corners. So this is very similar to the layout that I did for the angel ornament, you guys, that I did a couple weeks ago for Play, Grow, Become. Very, very similar in layout. So I just kind of took that same, formula, and I just used different molds. And then we're going to use this swan today for the middle. We're going to use a little velvet powder. So once I have it adhered and the clay was dry, I took some gesso, this primer paste, this white gesso, and then I just primed the whole thing front and back so that I'd be ready to go and paint today, you guys. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And we will go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do, what I'm planning on doing, and this one here is from, it's from the Winter Minis in A3. That was the right size swan for my middle piece here. So I've already cut that out. And then we're going to use this paper, which I think coordinates really pretty. I think that coordinates really pretty. We're going to use that on the back. So I'll put that to the side for now. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my molds. Hello, Beth. And I thought what I would do with the molds is I thought I would do kind of a shabby chic look on them. So I'm actually going to paint them in Decor Paint Chalky. And then we'll do a little bit of like vintage distressing on it. And I'm going to do that first so that I don't mess up my decoupage and my velvet powder. So I'm going to get my paint done first, and then we will go from there. Good morning, Mara. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me just spritz this a little bit. So I'm using the Decor Paint Chalky and Off-White, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to paint my molds with this color. I probably could leave it white, but I like the Decor Paint Chalky, and I like the way that it takes the antiquing gel. I'm not painting the whole thing. I'm just kind of painting the trim, and it doesn't really matter if I get it, elsewhere, because I'm going to be decoupaging over this. So the color is close enough that it's not going to be a big deal. So just Decor Paint Chalky and Off-White. And I'm painting my molds this color. And then I'm going to use my antiquing gel to give it a antiquing, kind of an antiqued look. Okay, so the first layer that I have on there is primer paste. Thank you, Betty. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thanks, y'all, for being here. We're going to continue with ornaments right up until Christmas. And I have decided, I don't really have the dexterity for ornaments. My hands tend to be a little bit clumsy when it comes to putting together these tiny little pieces and castings and whatnot. But I will say that the more I've practiced, the better I've gotten at it. So I have actually really started enjoying doing them a lot more. So I would even after Christmas is done, I don't mind continuing because of course, I want to do, the auction that I had for Clark's Kids. You guys was so successful. I'm so thrilled. We raised $2,000 for kids in foster care. Next year, I have a goal of 5,000, but of course, that means that I need to have more stuff to auction. So what I'd like to do is not do ornaments all year, but just to sprinkle them in from time to time, because I always have Christmas stuff around, Christmas papers and whatnot. So I may sprinkle them around. Catherine, you can ask me questions now. We're a little bit less formal on this series than we were the other one. So feel free to ask your questions. If I will also open up some time at the end in case I miss it, because I get pretty focused sometimes. So if you have a question, you can feel free to ask it. Yep, Valentine's Day and Easter for sure. There's so many beautiful blanks that you can use for ornaments. And I have just started finding them really fun to do. Hi, Tana. If you're new to me, please follow me. Feel free to share the love. If you know somebody who needs to be here, feel free to send them over. I glued the molds directly to the bauble while it was clear. And then I primed it after. Another thing that I did, you guys, is I took a template. So what I did, so that you know, like how I got such a perfect circle, was I took a template. It wasn't this exact thing, but it was something like this. And then I sketched in Sharpie, I sketched the outline of where I wanted my circle to be. And that's how I was able to line up my my molds so perfectly. So I like sketched it in Sharpie, and of course you prime it so that's not going to show through. Okay, so that's how I did that, just so you guys know. I'm trying to think. You could use like the lid from one of your products. So you could just put that down, use that depending on what size you need and what you have. Okay, so there's a couple different ways you can do that. All right, so let's make sure this is good and dry. I want to actually distress this, and then I want to dry brush it back. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to dry it a little bit more. Hi, Charlotte. All right, let's do that. Let's take this is Umbra antiquing gel. Actually, I take that back. This is just brown. So there is one called Umbra, but the one that I have here is just brown, which is slightly different. It's a little bit lighter than the Umbra. And I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm going to mist this, and I'm going to antique my molds. And I'm doing this again. I'm doing this before I do the decoupage because I don't want to get this product all over my decoupage. So need some paper towels and a little mister. And I'm just going to come in here and get that in there. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm back. Can you guys see me okay? Are you back? Am I back? Let me know if I'm back, you guys. My internet went out for a minute. Let me know if I'm back. Thank you. Yeah, my internet went out for a minute. Sorry about that. I had to reconnect. All right, awesome. All right, so I'm just wiping away here, you guys. Wiping some of that product away. And it's nice to keep it wet because if it starts to dry, then it's harder to wipe off. So if you keep it moistened, and you can repeat this as many times as you need to. So I sort of just do it in sections, y'all. And then we're going to paint, this part pink anyway, so that's going to cover up a lot of my residue that I'm leaving behind. All right. You guys done with, is everybody done with your Christmas shopping? We have Amazon packages arriving daily. I told the kids what I'm going to do is we're going to put all the Amazon packages under the tree, and we're just going to pass out boxes, and everyone's going to open a box and then pass it to the right person. Wouldn't that just simplify things if you didn't have to wrap everything? Of course, I'm actually not going to do that, but trust me, I was thinking that would be a really good idea. Like, why do we have to overcomplicate everything? Of course, a bunch of Amazon boxes under the tree just doesn't have the same feeling, does it? So, oh goodness. But when you're busy like me, it sure does. You're always looking for ways to economize on time. All right. All right, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I know. They're just growing so fast. It's crazy. It is just crazy. And I did manage to get my Christmas cards out this year. Kind of proud of that, actually. All right. All right. So again, see the mess that I'm leaving behind? This is why I'm doing this part first, because otherwise I'd be making a mess all over my pretty decoupage. So sometimes the success or failure of a project, you know, you have to kind of think about the order in which you're going to do some of these things, like, right? So in this case, it made sense to do this part before we did any painting, velvet powder, or decoupage. Okay. All right. So that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and dry. Okay, one thing I do have is a lot of layers of primer and paint. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of sandpaper and I'm just going to do a little bit of smoothing. I've got a 220 grit and I'm just going to smooth a little bit before I paint my pink on there. Oh, I got to blow my nose. Hold on one second. So retailers, if you're on and you can share your links, these ornaments, some of our retailers have, if you have these little baubles, you have the velvet powder, the primer, etc. Feel free to share your links. For my retailers, I wanted to tell you guys, I did get some of these little molds in. I'm going to be listing those. So we will have those available as well. And I did order some of the other little rope mold. The other one that I used last week, I did order some of those. Those haven't come in yet, but I have some of these in. So I'll list those in a little while for y'all. All right. So I'm just smoothing down because I've got a couple little bumpy places. So I'm just smoothing down. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to do the back as well. That looks pretty good. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to take some pink acrylic paint. I'm trying to decide which one I want. I guess it doesn't matter. Let's do this one. Let's see which one is. more fluid. Let's see if I can get. Sometimes my paints dry up, y'all. One moment. What do I have here? No, that's dry. All right, that pink is dry. Let's see about this one. This one is okay. All right, so I'm going to take my pink paint and I'm going to go ahead and paint this part pink. This is where my pink velvet powder is going to go. So remember, when you do velvet powder, you sort of want to paint the underneath color the same color as your velvet powder or something similar, just in case you have some areas that don't stick very well. And that just helps you to make sure that you it looks kind of seamless when you're applying your velvet powder. This color is Cherry Blossom Decor Paint. And I know we don't have a ton of the retailers who carry our decor paint, but I know that Mara has recently started getting in more and more of the decor paint colors, you guys. I know Terry has it as well. So if you guys, and I'm not sure, Rima, if you have it, but if you guys have our decor paint colors, feel free to share your links for that. I love the decor paints because they're like they're our kind of chalky line. But most of us use them for crafting instead of furniture. They were actually designed for furniture. But I mean, we do have the 250 milliliter size as well, and you can certainly use them for furniture, but we just love them so much for smaller crafts also, when you want that kind of chalky finish and you don't want to have to buy a whole liter or whatever. Okay. So I'm going to have to get a smaller brush to get in some of there. Yeah, I know, Mara. Mara, I think you have this color too, right? The Cherry Blossom. So a lot of our retailers have started carrying this in addition to some of the other paint lines that they have. Oop. I don't want to get that on there. Okay. Let me I need to get a smaller brush because I've got some little spots right in this bow area. And kind of around that bow as well. So that's going to be our challenge when we go to do the velvet powder, is getting that velvet powder everywhere. But we are up for the challenge, right? Okay. That looks pretty good. Y'all, my heart was going 100 miles an hour when Zanaya was in here touching all my stuff. She's like, what's this? What's this? What's this? And then she's like, can I craft with you? So sweet. All right. I don't think I need 2 coats because I really just want to get I'm not trying to cover the whole thing. I just want to get something underneath there, but I do have some spots that I need to sort of just refresh here. Let's see. Trying to get it as smooth as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect. I think that looks pretty good. All right, now I want to take, I want to get rid of some of this, some of the distressing on the ornament itself. I need to cover some of that up before I do my decoupage, so that doesn't show through. So I'm just camouflaging there. All right. All right, that looks pretty good. Now let's do the back side. All right, I'll do it here. If we decide to do it, you know, to put a little bit of distressing, that's fine. But we'll do it after. I don't necessarily want it to show through. I don't want to have to make that decision right this second. All right. So there we go. Let's dry. Of course, you want to be a little bit careful with your heat. If you're using a heat gun, turn it on low heat so you don't warp your plastic. This is plastic. It will melt. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to get this paper decoupage on the back. This is our cottontail background, and I think it's working really well with the swan. So we are going to go ahead and get this trimmed out. And I'm just using my little nail scientific method here of deciding where to cut out my circle. So I'm just taking my nail and I'm making sure that I'm holding it in place, and I'm going around and making that indent with my nail so that I can take my water pen and come around and cut out my circle. Okay, because I'm going all the way up to the edge of that molding. Okay, so this is really the best way to like measure out. It's not going to be 100% because it is going around a curved surface, but it is a good bit larger than what you might think it needs to be. which is why I wouldn't necessarily do it like this, because then I'm going to be about a 1/4 inch short all the way around because of that curvature. So I'm just going to take, I have that circle mapped out, and I'm just going to take my little water brush and I'm going to tear out my circle. This is the cottontail background paper from spring. And I wanted to show this swan. So I painted the swan. When I painted the swan, you guys know this is my hand. This is an oil painting that I did. I painted that swan. I gave him, so it's a winter swan, but I gave him a pink bow so that it could also cross over kind of into spring. And when I did that, I actually had this particular paper in mind so that it would have that aqua and pink feel to it. And I really wanted to do a project that combined these papers. So here it is. I'm so happy to be able to do this for you guys today. All right, so now I'm going to, because this is curved, I'm going to tear into the paper a little bit, kind of like darts in a dress. You've heard me say this a million times. This is how we work around a curved surface. It's not going to be completely wrinkle-free, but we should be able to get pretty close. We should be able to get it pretty well lined up. All right, that looks pretty good. I've got a little more here than I need. I'm just making sure that I'm not going to have any weird, awkward overlap. All right. That looks pretty good. Okay. Or gaps, or significant gaps. This one. All right, so let's go ahead and get our decoupage brush and our glue. I'm using the varnish. Got some more in. The matte, this one. Decoupage varnish and glue. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Deborah. You're very kind to say that. I think I need a bigger brush. We will get this on. And I'm doing kind of a section at a time because I really want to be careful in how I apply and manipulate here. So in some cases, I might actually have to force that overlap a little bit to minimize my wrinkles. All right. So you can be intentional about how you apply it when you make these little darts. Okay. So like do this one first and work that wrinkle out, and then come apply this part. Make sure I'm good and covered under here. So I'm going to do this, and then I got a pretty, okay, and then do this one, and just sort of I'm just sort of very slightly overlapping some of my darted areas. I need another one here. And being careful not to really touch my paper all that much unless it has glue on it, like a nice layer of glue on it. Oh, this one can go just like that. So that is how you do a round piece in one piece over a curved surface. You could also rip it and do it in sections. And then I'm taking, my finger's wet with glue, and I'm just sort of taking it and smushing out as many wrinkles as I can. When we get a few layers of varnish on there, the wrinkles will be less noticeable. All right. So don't be afraid. You want to have some glue on your finger if you're going to be trying to manipulate out some wrinkles. You don't want to touch this with like a tacky finger that's not full of glue, because then you're going to pull up the ink. Okay, so that looks pretty seamless to me. All right, let's dry this. All right, and we're going to dry this pretty well before we flip it over. Do you have a shabby chic tree, Mara? Is this your color theme? All right, let me put that to the side. I'm going to let that dry on its own a little bit more. I don't want to hold too much heat on there for too long. Let's go ahead and start working on our pink velvet powder. So I did start creating a mixture. I have some more to do. And basically this is pink velvet powder mixed with white. It's pretty dark. The pink on its own is more like, in my opinion, it's more like a fuchsia. And I want to get it down to more of a baby pink. So I've gotten it a pretty good ways. I absolutely don't need any more pink, but I do need to get some more white in there to mix it up to a lighter color. I think I saw Mara do this, and I'm going to say the same thing that she said, is you pretty much get one shot at this. So go ahead and mix more than you think you need, because you're not going to be able to match it again. All right. So you want to make sure that you have enough to cover your project. And if you have a little bit of extra, that's okay, because then you can always use it later for something else. So I actually want this lighter. So I'm going to mix a little bit, actually a lot more white in there to make this lighter. And I have this little tiny baby whisk. What's her, Terry Lightsey is the one who showed me these little tiny baby whisks. But this stuff will, you know, you can lighten it or darken it depending on what your desired outcome is. So we're just whisking that up pretty good. If I have extra, what I'll do is I'll save it in one of those little containers with a lid, and I'll use it for something else later. Of course, this stuff does go a long way. So I have actually way more than what I need, which is fine. And I just want to make sure this is really mixed very thoroughly so that it does appear to be all a uniform color. So you can manipulate the velvet powders and make the colors that you need to an extent, which I think is pretty cool. I thought that was a really interesting discovery. So I'll show y'all side by side the difference in the color that we were able to achieve versus the original pink color. All right. So let's show you the original pink color here in a little container on its own, so you can see how different we were able to get it. Okay, so look at that original color versus our new color. Just how much of a difference we were able to achieve by adding white velvet powder. All right, so this is still wet. I need to dry this some more before I flip it over and work on my velvet powder. Getting pretty close. I'm going to have to dry it one more time, but it's getting pretty close. In the meantime, I will find my decor glue tacky. Here it is. This is the one that I'm going to use to apply my velvet powder, decor glue tacky. This is really the best one on the market for this kind of thing. That is definitely the best one. All right, I think it's good enough to flip over now. We're going to flip that over. Actually, I'm going to grab my little tray here just so it's not touching all the way against the bottom. And let's go ahead and get our decor glue tacky. And we're going to apply this very carefully. Get it smaller. We're going to apply this very carefully onto our pink areas. And to be honest, I'm just now trying to think, because I am going to come back in. Why don't we do that now? Because what I want to do is I want to go ahead and brighten up this off-white with a little bit of dry brushing. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now before I do my velvet powder, so that I don't accidentally mess up my velvet powder with this step. So we're just going to brighten up our distressed areas. And we'll do that. With Decor Paint Chalky. And I'll do that because otherwise I'm going to get that paint on the velvet powder, and I don't want to do that. I can come back in and softly touch over it later if I need to. All right. And then we'll flip it over. We'll do the other side as well. Let's do this side. That looks pretty good. All right, let's move on to velvet powder. Yes, the Scrappy's Rustic Cradle. If you guys don't have one of these, you can get it from Tracy with Scrappy's Rustics. She sent me one, and I use it all the time. Okay. So Decor Glue Tacky. I'm going right up to the edges. And I'm going to come in behind it with a smaller brush as well. Tell me, so you guys, I'm curious to know, is there any particular, after we're kind of done with Christmas, and I start thinking about content for January, are there any particular types of projects or techniques that you want me to incorporate, something that you might be struggling with, anything besides fine line crackle, please. I think I have done. Honestly, there are enough demos of fine line crackle out there that if nobody ever did another demo of fine line crackle, I think we would be fine. So anything other than fine line, you guys, any techniques that you want me to share. Mirror mist, okay. I did get some more plastic mirror mist in, so maybe we can do that next week. Those ornaments that I made, the mirrored ornaments that I made, I never did those live for y'all, so I still want to do those. Thank you, Sue, for sharing that. It's definitely an ingenious tool. Keeps your stuff from rolling away, keeps it from touching the bottom. All right. I think I got this everywhere, y'all. I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, so tacky, decor glue tacky. Thank you, Tana. Yeah, I don't think we ever, we don't ever need to do another fine line crackle demo. I've done it so many times. It is still our number one. The thing people struggle with the most. Waxes and glazes, transparent crackle. Chameleon waxes. Stephanie, I can't do that one because that was someone else's class, and I agreed when I took her class that I wouldn't teach the technique. Unfortunately, when you take classes from people, you have to be mindful of that. Pouring glaze and glass resin. Because that's somebody's income, It's not in English, but she does actually send, when you take the class, she sends you a step-by-step guide that it is in English, which is what I use to kind of follow it. So it's a video, and when she's talking, she's speaking in Polish. You can follow along in the video. It is easy to follow. So I would recommend, if you want to learn that technique, then take that class. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to get our velvet powder and we're going to start sprinkling that on here. It's not as smooth like if I just had the pink, because we made a mixture. I will say the texture of this is not as smooth as if we had just done it out of the jar, but it's still, I'm able to spread it around with my fingers and it's still working just fine. I'll have to get a little brush and get into some of those little cracks in between. I may do something similar you know, where like you can sort of figure out the technique. I may do something kind of similar to it with a different shape, maybe a heart for Valentine's Day or something. It needs to be different enough from her original class though. And I need to let some time pass before I do it, you know, so I may do something kind of like it because there are parts of it that you could figure out on your own for sure. Okay. I just can't copy her class. All right. See, I'm going to have a lot of this light pink mixture left over, which is totally fine. It's better to have more than not enough. And now I need to get in here with my brush. And get that in there. And then get in here. Just in the in-between areas where my finger is too bulky to go. And it's only going to stick where I have the tacky glue. So I was really careful when I applied the tacky glue not to get it on the molds and such. But again, you know, the danger here is not applying the tacky glue in the places that where you want it. And that's why we paint it the same color underneath so that it sort of camouflages that. Because once you have the powder on, you really can't go back over it with tacky glue because otherwise you're going to make a big old stinking mess. So that's why it's important to cover it the first time really well everywhere that you want it. So I have a little hole here, but that's okay. See, these are handmade items, right? So with handmade items, what you want to keep in mind is that they absolutely do not need to be perfect. Because it is a handmade item, it is not a mass-produced item. That's what's given it the character. All right. All right. So now I'm just going to tap off my excess. Try to save as much as I can. You don't seal this or anything. It's that tapping off that gets rid of the excess. All right. She can't see the comments. The class was from Anna Carlucci from Anna Deco Art. I'll try to share the link after. If you come back after, I'm going to ask Sue if she can find that class that we're talking about and see if she can share the link. So what it was an ornament. I don't have it. It's gone. It's on its way to my friend Sharon Fortune in South Africa. Otherwise, I would show it to you. All right. So we'll get this little guy on here. My biggest concern is to make sure that he's going in the right direction. get that on there. And let's get our decoupage, varnish, and glue. Let's make sure. You could have used like a turquoise, even white would be pretty. But I do like the pink with this. All right, so let's get this on here. And again, I'm going to try to do it in a methodical way to try to minimize the wrinkles that I'm getting. All right, so push this one down, and then this one can come up, and then we'll push this one down. My paper might just be slightly too large, but that's okay because I can get a little bit of antique paste and come in behind it. Camouflage that. I can also take another, what I may do is just take another little row of beads and come in. All right, now I'm going to get my finger and rub out any wrinkles. Okay. Take that and kind of press it in. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's dry, and then we will do our finishing touches. I might have a crystal chain. So there's the back, there's the front. Let me see what I have. I might have a little tiny, I got into all this little bling stuff. So I might have a little bit of trim that we can use. Let me see. So we could use something like this. This could be an option. Oh, mixed up in my trees. So we could do a little row of this, which would work just fine. Let me see. I do have a little rhinestone, so we could do that. Let me look at my caps. I need an ornament cap. I'm thinking this one, probably one of these. So I want this ornament cap. Let me just dry this a little bit more, and then we'll make some choices. All right, let's do our ornament cap. We're going to put this on over here. And you guys have seen me do this a couple times at this point. And, you know, these things are this is the little investment that keeps on giving, is this little pack of ornament caps. You can find these on my link tree from Amazon. All right. I don't want gold because there's not really any gold on here. So we're just going to trim some of this so that we can hot glue that ball on the top. Retailers, if you have the papers that I use, feel free to share your links for that. Deborah Hammond is asking. I use the cottontail background and the 9-pack minis in A3. All right, so we'll get this little ornament cap on there. And that should hold it pretty good. And then we can decide. I do like the idea of bling on here. I tend to, when I do bling stuff, I usually use it very sparingly. I'm more of a, I'm less of a bling person and more of a vintage shabby chic person, but I do think this one could lend itself to some bling trim. So we'll take a look at it both ways. I'll let y'all vote since this one is going to be for sale, y'all. I will list it on my website at some point. So we could do this around the inside. This is where my issues with dexterity is, like managing these really tiny pieces. I'm not always very good at. So we could do that around the inside. And we'll pick up the tree lights. So y'all can vote on the little bling trim, or if we want to keep it more vintage style and do this trim on the inside. So option 1 is the bling. Option 2 is this. So option 1 or option 2, you guys. Either one would be beautiful. I'm going to do the same thing around this outer section as well. So I got 1 vote for bling. Bling. I think y'all are going to vote bling. Any other votes? We got option 1 for bling, option 2 for vintage, 3 votes for bling. All right, y'all, it'll be, oh, we got, got another vote for vintage. All right, I think we're going to do the bling. Let's come around. Let's do the back of this one first. And I have this Surebonder, which has a super fine kind of needle point on it. So I probably need to get, my little silicone tips on, y'all. Let me go get those real fast. So I don't burn my fingers. Tips. Oh, you know what? I think I put them in here. I can barely walk in here. There's so much stuff everywhere. Oh, there they are. Okay. Get my tips on. It's going to be pretty. And get some tips on. So I don't burn. This is really important, you guys, to protect yourself. All right. So please take precautions, whether you're using resin, hot glue, things that can burn you, things that can cause chemical burns. I also did, a lot of people are asking me about my hot glue gun, you guys. I also do have a link on my Amazon store for the hot glue gun. It's a Sure Bonder and it has a fine tip. The thing I like about it too is it's cordless. So it's like it sits on a rechargeable platform, but it's cordless. And you can use it either corded or rechargeable. And I like it because it gives you a really fine, like a fine strip of glue. So you're not getting glue like everywhere, you know? All right. And it was, last time I checked, it was on sale. It's under, if you look on my Amazon store, it's under tools that I use. You can see my whole setup there. And the little caps that I just used are on there as well. All right. I don't think I put the bling trim on there, but I can if you guys, if y'all want me to link out the little bling trim that I'm using here, I can put that on there too. Okay. All right. So there's one row. And we'll cut that with our little wire trimmer. Yeah, don't breathe in any chemicals or powders or anything like that. So that's the back. I think that looks really pretty and it's subtle. It's not like in your face, right? So it's enough shabby chic look to be vintage, but also has some very subtle elements as well. All right, let's start here. And I'm going to do a fine strip here. So let's make sure that's turned the right way. This one's a little bit more challenging because of the curvature of the ornament, y'all, to get it the right, facing the right way. Okay. That glue stick down in there. Try to get it on there before it starts to cool. I like it because you got that softness with the velvet powder, and you have that shabby chic finish, and you have the beautiful hand-painted swan. And just a touch of bling. It's just enough to add a little bit of elegance without being overdone, right? So this was, I've had this project in my head for a while. In fact, when I was painting this big swan, I was dreaming of making this exact ornament with it combined with that cottontail background paper. So a lot of times when I create papers, I have the one very specific project in mind. And that's why I tell Avetta, you know, when she creates papers, think of the project that you're going to do with it. And that's going to create, that's going to give you a more successful design if you can envision the project that you would do. And then a lot of times, once I've done the one project, that's all I got until I see somebody else's ideas. It's like I can't think of what else I would do to it because I did the one that was meant for it, you know. And then I go, okay, I got that out of my system. Next project. All right, this one I've got a little bit of, I need to fix because I got a little bit of overlap here. So let's just trim that. Oh. I might need to all right, I might have to come back in and do like one little tiny bead there, which if I do, that's fine. I got space for one more bead there. Let's see if I can get it in. I'll probably need a little tweezer or something to smush that in there, but I don't even know if I'm going to mess with it, to be honest with you. Let me try. All right, and I do have a little tweezer tool I can use. Here we go, a little needle nose. There's my one little gem. Charlotte, this one came from Poland. I bought it from a company called Ace Craft. I do have plans to bring these in. The molds are from a company called Mila Project. It's the same company that did the little mice, but I don't have them yet. I have plans to get them in 2025. All right. So I'm pretty happy with this overall. Let me show it to y'all. I think that is so dainty and elegant and just enough bling. And then I've got this little bow that's going to sit right there. And I think that's just perfect. This is a old-fashioned from our vendor from Poland, old-fashioned ribbons. And I've already tied this up. So let's get this on here. I'm going to put that right on right there. And I just think that is just about as gorgeous as can be. We are going to do, I am going to take, you know what I'm going to do, Deborah? I'm going to take a little bit of glossy. Let's do that because this is a finishing touch that I did on something recently that I really liked. So I like that idea. Let's do it here. Where is it? Eco glitter. This one. Silver. All right. So I have this. This is a fine eco glitter. And I did this recently and I really liked it. This was an alternative to the chameleon varnish, you guys. So sometimes, you know, when with the chameleon varnish, it can be a little bit streaky. So I have an alternative to that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a coat of glossy varnish on my swan. Let's get this on here. So this is my glossy varnish, water-based glossy varnish. And I'm going to do a coat of that on here because I want him to have a little bit of shine. You can do more than one coat. You probably should do like 2 or 3 coats and then save the glitter for the last step, but just in this, for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and get this on here. I'm not trying to cover up my rhinestones that I just did. So I got a coat of glossy varnish on here and it's applied very evenly. 2 or 3 coats would be ideal. And I'm going to just take a little bit of my glitter, my eco glitter, and I'm just sprinkling that in there. So it's giving it kind of a uniform sparkle. And when this dries, it'll dry clear. And then I'll have a little bit of shine in there. You could use diamond dust or something, but I'm using the silver eco glitter in fine. All right, so that's giving it a little bit of a sparkle. Let's dry that and see how we like it. This is 4 inches, it's 11 centimeters. And I'll probably do like 2 or 3 more coats of that glossy. And I like the glossy because it gives it a little bit of a shine. All right, so you can see it's now got a little bit of the sparkle on it, but it's not overly done. It's not too overdone. And if I wanted to, I could do the same on the back side, which I probably will, but I'm going to let this rest and sit for a minute because I don't want to mess anything up. Y'all, thank you so much for being here with me today. I love what we made. I'm super excited about it. The Eco Glitter is Pentart. It's fine. All right, y'all. Well, thank you. Thanks you guys for being here. And I will see you next week. We'll do another, maybe we'll do the double-sided mirrored ornaments next week, you guys. So I got to pour some clear resin this week, 2 of each, and then we'll make some double-sided shabby chic ornaments next week. All right, y'all. Take care and have a great weekend. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you next time. All right, bye-bye, everybody.